You ready?
Welcome back to Between Two Cheeks. I am Stacy Heller, and I am recently waxed.
Sugared.
Sorry. Jeez. And I'm joined by Brooke Kennedy.
And I am the owner of Sweet Bee Hair and Skin Lounge, located in Issaquah, Washington. And I am a master esthetician as well as a Brazilian sugaring specialist.
I am none of those things. But I think I'm here for levity and for asking the questions that people don't typically want to ask. So today we're going to talk about a whole other ball of wax, and I'm not talking about literal wax, or even a ball of sugar, as we learned in the episode with Justin, where it's like a ball of sugar. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about the things that, like, oh my gosh, I didn't plan accordingly. I'm having my first Brazilian say, and I don't know what my cycle is, say. And so, dealing with something like having your period, or like, what do you do?
And I'm excited. This episode covers pregnancy, periods, and piercings.
Yes, the 3 Ps. So, and peeing. I don't know, I just made that up. So what do you do?
That is actually, we get that phone call a lot. People call in the day of and they said, oh my goodness, I just started my period, but I still really want to get this done. Is it possible? And we say yes. And I have to say, not every single establishment is going to take someone who is on their period. So please do keep that in mind. But here, because we give you the wipes and we just tell people, if you may please put in a fresh tampon, you do have to wear something. Like, you can't just come in on your period, and because there are people that won't wear tampons, like that's actually quite common. But if you have a tampon or like the Diva Cup, just make sure that that is inserted, that it's fresh. It's probably a good idea to shower, 2 to 3 hours before. And then if you do use a tampon, you actually want to cut the string, because you know how the tampon strings are nice and long. And if you don't cut it, you have to tuck it. And when we say tuck it, because a lot of people don't really tuck it, I understand a lot of people don't want to stick their fingers there, but you really do have to tuck it so
otherwise
it's out of the way.
Going to be sugared.
Well, it can, yeah.
Like, it's just gonna, like, it's gonna nobody wants that to happen. Like, that's just awful, like the visual.
And there are plenty of tampon strings that are not tucked, so I literally am asking them all, just gotta, see, get their hand and be like, okay, I'm gonna have you hold it here. So if I'm working on the right side, I'll move the string and just have them hold it so I can kind of do the thing. But it just makes it, a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that, for people that, things happen and they're not expecting it, and there's, they have their cycle for their period and they have their cycle for their Brazilians. So
don't want to mess up those maintenances.
In theory, I understand. In practice, I don't understand.
And I do tell people that it is going to be more painful because of
I was curious about that.
Pre or post 5 to 7 days, we actually have that in our intake paperwork. It's just due to hormones. I always say this is going to be a little bit more bitey, and they usually will sweat a little bit more because sometimes temperatures can be elevated also with pregnancy. But yes, you can get a Brazilian while you're on your cycle. And for all of my clients that have been coming for years and years and years, I honestly don't know that they're on their cycle because they've done everything that we mentioned. They've showered, they have a fresh tampon, it's all tucked away. I'm not going in that area, right? Because I don't wax the vagina. When people say I'm getting my vagina waxed, you're really not.
Which we talked about.
Yes, we did.
Way back in the beginning. So if you're just joining and starting to listen for the first time, go back to, I think it's episode 3, and we talk about this. And you can learn all about the
hair down there,
pubis and all these other things, the North Star of the vaginal area. I learned so much. You will too. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so that's great to know that it's not something that, it, as you say, it's up to the establishment. Sweet Bee will work with people. Not everyone will, but it's not something that it's like, oh, I can't.
And I have people that will bring in their own wipes, even though they know that we give them a wipe, but they'll go into the bathroom, have their own little wipes, and, they just are really wanting to make sure that they're nice and clean, which is ever so nice.
ever
us.
so nice. Yeah. Well, and I mean,
And it makes them feel more comfortable as well.
you're already getting intimate. Like, I used to tell my kids, if you're going to be intimate with someone, you should be able to handle getting them tampons. So in this case, I guess that sort of proves true.
And we do keep tampons here because literally some people will start on their way to the establishment and they will walk in and they're like, I just started my period. So we have those on hand.
Wow.
Plus it's all women that work here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there's that. Okay, so that's great to know.
And as far as pregnancy,
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
so it's been great since I have been in the industry since 2012, but I opened in 2013. And it's been so wonderful seeing people, you know, go through their first pregnancy and then some people kind of going through their second pregnancy. And people do it all the way through. In fact, I have one gal, she's the record setter. So Andrea, if you're listening to this, she came in for her Brazilian, and I can't remember if it was her due date or what, but she came in and she's like, I'm doing everything. I'm ready. You know, I got to walk, and I can't remember if she got acupuncture that day. She was just doing everything that was listed so that she could have her baby.
Yep.
And so then at 11 o'clock that night, she emailed me and sent me this beautiful picture of her baby doing the skin-to-skin contact.
Oh.
And she said, you are my good luck charm. So I literally did her Brazilian that day, and she had her baby that night.
Oh. Well, I mean, I will say that, you know, having a baby and getting a Brazilian, I am curious.
All the same day.
The pains, well, and the pain scale. Like, I mean, if you do one, why not do the other, right? I mean, now I wonder, like, do babies come out faster? Like, you talk about the pee. Is it more of a straight shot when the baby comes out? I mean, inquiring minds want to know.
With less hair down there.
Right, with less hair. Like, is it just like, whoop, it comes right out?
And there are some people that are not regulars, they're not maintaining maintenance. Like I will meet people when they are 7 or 8 months pregnant. They've never been in before, but they're normally shavers. And then they say, I can't see the area anymore. And my husband doesn't want to shave me. So he said, will you please go see a professional? Or some people that have had them in the past, they just don't maintain them.
Okay.
And they just want the area nice and clean beforehand. So
I actually talked about this on my radio show a while back. I had a guest on, and she has had 8 children.
oh, wow.
And she talked about the idea. I was on the show, I was talking about how we were recording this, and she said, I think that they should offer a service that if you get an epidural and you're all numb and whatever, like, just get it done. Like, have the baby and then, like, have it done, and then you're ready to go and you don't have to worry about it for the first little bit. And I was like, that's an interesting idea. I mean, talk about a concierge service. Idea. So interesting. Okay. And then, so you can be pregnant. That doesn't affect anything.
I will say that it is more vascular, like the further along you're getting. And sometimes it's awkward when the baby drops and I'm literally doing the Brazilian and I can feel like the baby head and what I'm just like, oh, I'm touching your little baby right now.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, and
does the baby move then? Like, is the baby like,
I don't ever usually get to feel the baby move, which is interesting. Like, you would think that the baby would be like, oh my gosh, this is traumatic for my mom. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
No. Well,
I don't see the stomach
insulated.
moving.
Okay. Interesting. And then what about you've had the baby? Like, how long do people need to...
There are some record setters too. I tell my pregnant clients, as like, some people come back in as soon as 4 weeks. And I do have 2 clients that literally gave birth and have returned for their maintenance within 4 weeks because they're determined to beat the record here at Sweet Pea.
So you don't advise it, it's just that it is possible.
I mean,
whatever works for somebody.
For them, right? So obviously they probably had great labor and delivery where they're not being ripped and stitched.
Right. Unlike some people. Okay.
Those people are probably not going to be coming in as soon.
Probably not. And they know that. Okay, so...
But it is more vascular down there, so there are a couple times it will get swollen, like the lips are swollen, and then when you're doing it, they'll get more pinpoint bleeding.
Okay.
And it's like a stuck pig, like it will bleed, even though it's just a tiny little pinpoint, it's going to go away. But when I let them know, I'm like, okay, you know, there is blood here, but it's just because the area is so vascular because you're about ready to have a baby.
Yep.
And that's usually like when they're really close.
Okay. Interesting. I'm learning so much. I feel like this is sort of like, I don't know, sex ed or something. Or
and we elevate them a little bit to make it more comfortable. And then between the cheeks position for sugaring is more comfortable. I'm like, hey, go roll on your side and you can just lay that little baby on the table. Your stomach. So I lifted their cheek high. So it's usually not too uncomfortable for them. Mm-hmm. Nice. But then I give them the mirror afterward because they honestly cannot see anything. Yeah, you gotta give them the mirror.
Forget the fupa. You gotta lift the little boopa. I don't know,
so especially if they are having the pinpoint bleed, or if I notice anything, sometimes there could be a little more chafing. Sometimes they'll have maybe like a really bad ingrown hair. And they just have no idea what's going on down there. So the mirror is helpful at the end.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, piercings.
Yes, people get Brazilians that have piercings. Okay. So I just make sure that I am holding, like my hand is on the piercing because I can sugar just to make sure I'm not catching it. And then if I need their help at all, they can cover the piercing as well. But I highly advise if there are any estheticians listening to this and you haven't waxed anyone or sugared anyone with piercing, just to make sure that it is covered so you don't have to worry about grabbing that at all. That would be horrible to rip that out. I'm
thinking about like an earring, just like you take it out. But I guess you just don't like.
No, because I've had a client, and that's why I love our clients, because they educate me all the time. But if one had just taken it out for some reason, not because she was getting sugared, and she actually had to go to her piercer to have it put back in. So I don't think that one is easy just to remove. When we're doing facials with the noses, a lot of times they'll just take their piercing right out so that they can get more thorough extractions and a deeper cleanse and whatnot. But
I'm learning so much.
That piercing,
it's not a clip-on. It's not my grandmother's clip-ons.
Nope, can't take that one in and out very easily. But please share our listeners. We want to know.
I'm so
curious.
Can
you easily take your piercing in and out? Because as far as I know, it's not that easy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 2 piercings, 1, 2. That's it. Okay, so I've learned a lot again. I feel like Between Two Cheeks has become, educate Stacy. And you know what? Again, I'm the one that has all the questions, and probably a lot of other people do too. So
that's why we're doing this.
That's why we're doing this.
Good information.
Exactly.
Set people up for success.
If we missed anything in the whole talking about the whole other ball of wax, then definitely comment and ask the questions, because we would love to hear from you.
And we'll answer them on future episodes.
Yes, we will. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I mean, I never met a question I didn't want to ask on camera and audio. Mm-hmm. So continue to listen to us on the podcast Between Two Cheeks. You can also watch us on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
You can interact with us at betweentwocheeks.com or on our Instagram account as well.
Yes.
So thanks for listening, subscribing, hitting the bell, liking, all the other things that you're supposed to do.
Sharing.
That one. And we will be back next time. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.